Final Eight, the Elite Eight of the National Football League. The Final Four in each conference is set after the Monday Night Football game went down in Pittsburgh, PA, and it just was a total and complete beatdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the fourth quarter. The dam broke, the levee broke, however you want to put it, on however the Steelers were holding off the marauding Texans defense for three quarters, couldn't put a touchdown on the board whatsoever, and at the end of the day, it was a 30-6 final score washout in a game that the Steelers had for the taking if they could only put enough together on offense to somehow, some way, pop one in the end zone. And sure enough, the final touchdown of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers was the one that helped them beat the Baltimore Ravens on the final night. And all that it served to do was, yes, give them a division title, which is obviously something you want to have. And yes, a home playoff game, which is obviously something that you want to have. But all it did at the end of the day was just delay what everybody thought would have happened in Pittsburgh, PA, had Tyler Loop of the Baltimore Ravens split the uprights rather than miss one to the right. And that is what is happening in Pittsburgh now that Mike Tomlin has lost a seventh consecutive playoff game, now that Aaron Rodgers completed the first season in Pittsburgh for him, age 42. Now what happens to them? And I understand, again, that the Houston Texans won this game, and I'm going to give them their flowers momentarily. But at this point in time, we were wondering how this Pittsburgh season would play out, from the way that it ended last year to the fact that Aaron Rodgers was targeted by Pittsburgh the minute he flew across the country, just to be told by another Aaron, your services are no longer required. He took his time. There was a lot of conversation about whether that time would be up in time for the draft. It wasn't. Everyone was wondering when Rodgers would make a decision. He finally did. He goes to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the question is, would he be able to somehow, some way, under the circumstances in Pittsburgh, get the Steelers to the playoffs? Check that box. Would he be able to get them into the playoffs in advance for the first time in forever? And that box was unable to be checked. And now comes the questions about what should be done in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I already know what's going to happen. I know. But in this day and age, one never knows. Did not think John Harbaugh would be made available. Didn't know that then Mike McDaniel would be made available after being told essentially, go about your business and giving exit interviews to the media and your players, only to be fired 3 days later than what normally happens. But I'll hold that in abeyance for the moment, when this is how it all went down after the game with Aaron Rodgers and the media about his future.
Aaron, does that game affect your decision for what to do next year in any way?
No, I'm not going to make any emotional decisions. Disappointed, obviously. Such a fun year, a lot of adversity, but a lot of fun. Been a great year, overall in my life in the last year, and this is, a really good part of that, coming here and being a part of this team. So it's disappointing to be sitting here with the season over.
Play again. Do you want it to be here?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Shutting it all down. Basically not even saying, if I'm playing, I'm going to be here. Why would he cut anything off at the pass right now? Why would he say, I'm only playing here, when that might not be the case? Especially since I don't think he'd be playing there if Mike Tomlin's not there. I could say that with about 99.9% Michael Jordan's not walking through that door certainty.
I agree.
Unless it's somebody from his past who he absolutely loves and would love to get started on a 22nd year with him. Because he's got to sit here and say to himself, if I have the temerity to actually get inside his skull and
be careful,
think about what he's going to say or what he is thinking, he's got to sit here and think, I still have it in my arm. And I still have it neck up to the ability where I was able to avoid this rush for 3 quarters until the roof caved in, leading to, by the way, the first ever return for a touchdown in the history of the National Football League with a ball on the ground by a defensive tackle. Sheldon Rankins is the first defensive tackle to return a fumble for a touchdown. And then, of course, this is another reason why a lot of people think Rodgers will not be able to walk away, because his last throw, his last snap in the National Football League was a pick six. And Tom Brady's last snap as a New England Patriot was a pick six in a playoff loss orchestrated by, wait for it, Mike Vrabel. And he didn't walk away. He went somewhere else and had a final couple of seasons till he was 45. So he walked away north of age 40 from New England and finished up his career and got another trophy. And maybe that's something when Rodgers stares out at the Malibu sunset he'll be thinking about. So I don't blame him for saying, I'm not answering it right now, because everything is highly emotional. You saw him on the sideline swearing like a sailor, upset about certain things. He has to be sitting here thinking, is this the way it's going to end? I'm sure it was not easy for Mike Tomlin and him to put their heads together and make a decision about him not coming out for that last mop-up duty that was Mason Rudolph's gig. Because somebody who's a first ballot Hall of Famer doesn't hold a mop in his hand. The whole thing kind of sucks for it to end that way. And we'll see what happens. I have no idea about a sense of timing or anything like that. I'm sure everyone's going to want to know. And the first step is what's going to happen with Mike Tomlin. And this is what he had to say about his future afterwards.
I'm not even in that mindset as I sit here tonight. I'm more in the mindset of what transpired in this stadium and, certainly what we did and didn't do. Not a big picture mentality as I sit here tonight.
So here's the way I think that one's going to go. It's going to go in a way that I don't think some Steelers fans who have had enough of Mike Tomlin, for whatever their reasons, is going to go. It's going to go with the Rooney saying, what do you want to do, Mike?
More than likely.
I think so. That's what everybody says. That's the way it normally goes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There's a reason why, again, I'm age 56, and they've had only 3 head coaches. And it's going to go, what do you want to do? Does he want to do it anymore? I don't know. He might look around and go, Cam Hayward's got gray in his beard, so do I. TJ Watt still has the 100% motor giddy-up of anybody who's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer like that. I do like some of the other young players around here, but offensively, what are we going to do here? Because I just saw the future, and the future is the Houston Texans defense that's not going anywhere, and the Denver Broncos defense. And this is the sort of issue we've got on the offensive side of the ball. How are we going to score points? Again, last night, the Steelers defense was decleating people, and they were all over C.J. Stroud. But offensively, this was the question we were going to have, even with DK Metcalf coming back, is where are the chunk plays going to come from? Where are the points going to come from? Would they be able to affect things on the ground? I mean, the first run by Jaylen Warren last night, 10 yards, that augured well, that bode well until it didn't. What's he want to do? There's rumors that he has a TV gig in his back pocket. We had him on this show 1 week ago tomorrow, and he was as honest as they come, which is I don't have an outside noise guy. I don't pay attention to that sort of stuff, but he must have somebody that does receive offers for him. Does he want to go to TV? This guy strikes me as he's as ball coach as they come. He wants to be in a building. He wants that challenge. I don't think he wants to sit on a television set, to be honest with you. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's just like, you know what, I'm going to win every week just sitting on a TV set. I don't need to be in a stadium. I'm happy to tell you what I think about somebody else's job. I'll be part of the outside noise. That doesn't strike me as him. Again, I only know him for covering him for 19 seasons. I only know him from the times when I've chit-chatted with him. I have a massive soft spot for Mike Tomlin, as Pittsburgh Steelers fans and media in the western part of the state love to point out. But even he will say, essentially, the results are not there. He's no rube off the turnip truck here, to use the phrase. He gets it. He understands it, and so do the Rooneys, and they're going to sit down and talk. And it's going to take at least the rest of this week. We all want answers now, as Aaron Rodgers pointed out when this was all brought up to him in his post-game press conference about futures other than his involved. And, of course, that's Mike Tomlin's.
I mean, this league has changed a lot in my 21 years. You know, when you hear conversation about the Mike Tomlins of the world, Matt LaFleur's of the world, those are just two that kind of I've played for. And when I first got in the league, there wouldn't be conversation about whether those guys were on the hot seat, you know. But the way that the league is covered now, and the way that there's snap decisions, and the validity given to the, you know, the Twitter experts and all the, you know, experts on TV now who make it seem like they know what the hell they're talking about. To me, that's an absolute joke. And for either of those two guys to be on the hot seat is really apropos of where we're at as a society and a league, because obviously Matt's done a lot of great things in Green Bay, and we had a lot of success. Mike T has had more success than damn near anybody in the league, you know, for the last 19, 20 years. And more than that, though, when you have the right guy and the culture is right, you don't think about making a change. But there's a lot of pressure that comes from the outside, and obviously that sways decisions from time to time. But it's not how I would do things, and not how the league used to be.
What have you learned from being with Mike for a season about him?
I've answered that a number of times. I've talked extensively about how I feel about Mike, and I just did in that answer. So, thanks.
All right.
And that's the way Rodgers' final press conference as a professional quarterback, if he retires, ends with an F-bomb. Although, you know, again, I hear that answer and I think to myself, you know, do we in the media really influence owners' decision-making based on the outside noise? And is it fair to say it's the media that is turning owners against certain coaches who have won a lot? And then I hear the last question is like, what have you learned from Mike Tomlin? And he gives the kind of look, basically, did you not just hear what I said about my answer about Mike Tomlin? And I've also said that over the final few weeks, which kind of lends credence to him having an issue with the outside noise. It's all just one big, you know, microcosm of the way Rodgers talks with the media and also gives them a very thoughtful answer. I don't know if you saw Mike Silver of The Athletic, our longtime friend, was there, and he wrote about Rodgers' last night because, you know, he goes back with Rodgers. They're two Cal Bear guys. Remember after the Fail Mary that Silver was right next to Rodgers doing a WTF? Remember that viral moment?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's only fitting that he's there for Rodgers' last night. And he got a text. He reached out to Matt LaFleur saying, did you hear what Rodgers said about you? And LaFleur texted him back saying he was totally blown away by it. It's one of the greatest compliments he's ever gotten. So, you know, and everybody's like wondering, did Rodgers and LaFleur get along and all that sort of business? And there's your answer. Listen, I totally understand why the outside noise in Pittsburgh is the way it is. Tomlin's now 1-11, trailing at halftime in his postseason career. And he's now gone 9 straight seasons without winning a playoff game. And I can't believe this is on his resume. The Steelers are the first team in NFL history to lose 5 straight playoff games by double digits. So these are the ways in Pittsburgh, PA, where they're used to hanging banners. They want banners. But Rodgers' point is this as well. And the same thing with LaFleur. If you have the culture right in the building, let's get the players right. It's not like the players are 100% right and Tomlin is just incompetent and fumbling the bag. At the end of the day, it is just a team effort. And there are times when I'm sure Tomlin's decision-making, and Steeler fans could call me up right now and give me 5 different instances of where he blew it. But you get the culture right and you get the players right, you wind up with the 2026 New England Patriots playoff team. You know, you wind up with the 2025 New England Patriots. You wind up with the 2025 Denver Broncos. You wind up with the 2025 Seattle Seahawks. You get the culture right. You get the players right. You get the quarterback right. My God, you get the quarterback right. And off you go. And
the problem is he's really whiffed on picking that quarterback since Ben left.
Well, it's not just his choices either. I mean, I think they need to draft one and get that one right. Duh. I mean, you could say that about every team that's now out of the playoffs or is in it. Look at the top 6 teams in the draft. You're wondering who's got the quarterback right or not, who's going to have to draft somebody. And 5 of the 6 teams have fired their coaches and started from scratch. So the way it's going to go is this, Steelers fans. They're going to take their time. They're going to ask Mike Tomlin what he wants to do, and we have no idea what he wants to do. And in terms of Rodgers, Tomlin comes back. Is the door open? Again, there were some throws there was one that DK Metcalf. Right. Well, not just the one that looked like the A.J. Brown one, not to go all Ole Miss teammates on you here, but there was one that Rodgers moved to his left and threw a dart through about 3 sea of Texans' hands. It hit DK Metcalf right in his hands, and it was a bullet. I mean, it's not like he's lollipopping this stuff in, and it's not like he can't take care of himself back there. He just survived all of this stuff for the season. But, or do you say to Tomlin, we're done, we're getting a new coach in here, and it would be the envy of anybody in the coaching community to take a job with somebody that holds on to their coaches for 2 decades. And I don't know. You draft somebody, you go tell Malik Willis, come here. Remember, that was what I said after the Week 16 Packers loss to Chicago, that he almost pulled out of his hat, or that Week 17 loss that they had against the Ravens. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think they're going to keep Tomlin, and I don't know about Rodgers. I have no idea. I just don't know if he wants to end on a pick 6. Well, that doesn't even matter to him. I have no earthly idea. I've already opined enough on what I think he's thinking.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.